on Sai's Eyes on the Skies.
Temperatures in the 40s right now with some calm winds throughout the state, really bringing those nice November temperatures that we kind of have been missing the last few days, and we've had those colder temperatures moving through. A lot more, more about that in the forecast coming up.
Plus, Kevin has your national forecast. All that and more as this Tuesday, November 19th edition of Sai's Eyes on the Sky starts right now.
Live from Studio 171 in Ames, Iowa, the Iowa State Meteorology Department team of meteorologists brings you the latest weather from around the country and out your front door. Iowa State's longest running television program and the only live weather broadcast on campus starts right now. This is Sai's Eyes on the Skies.
Welcome back to Sai's Eyes. I'm now joined by Jackson. So, any precipitation for the next week?
We will have some coming in on Thursday, but it'll be kind of towards the morning hours, so you won't necessarily see it as you're walking around, but you might see some wet pavement as you're heading to work, and maybe the grass could be a little bit muddy as you walk around, so I'd pay attention to that on Thursday, yeah. Taking a look at the current conditions, as I said a few minutes ago, Ames temperature seems to be about 40 degrees throughout the area around here, and those winds are nice and calm, keeping things not too cold as you walk around Ames today. Looking at the temperatures throughout the whole state, we see temperatures ranging from the low 40s to the high 40s, 47 in Des Moines, quite a big temperature difference between Des Moines and Ames there. So definitely want to move down a little bit south if you're looking for some warmer temperatures. And some of the headlines we're going to be looking at in today's forecast include kind of back to the fall weather that we've been so missing these last few days with all the cold conditions and snow that we've been having the last few days, which isn't quite as what we're used to in this early in November. We have some rain early Thursday, as I discussed earlier with Sarah, and some cloudy week conditions ahead.
And now it's time for tonight's weather story. On this day in 1981, an unusually early snowstorm struck the Twin Cities of Minnesota. The Hubert Humphrey Metrodome in Minneapolis, Minnesota, was damaged by the weight of the heavy snow with reports of almost a foot of snow. The weight of the snow caused the newly inflated roof to tear and collapse. After completely deflating the roof was repaired and reinflated. And now here's Kevin with a look at what's going on around the country. Kevin?
Well, fall is back this week, but not for too long for you folks out west. You might want to gas up those snow blowers heading into this weekend, but we will have more on that in just a few minutes.
Hamilton.
Welcome back to Sai's Eyes. Now here's Kevin with a look at what's happening around the country. Kevin?
Well, like we talked about a little bit before, fall is back this week, but you can see that these folks out in Montana near Billings have some snow, maybe some snow up there in Canada, and of course these remnants of some tropical systems heading over Arizona and the Las Vegas area, bringing them some rain that they're not really used to this time of year. Like we talked about, you see that flash flood warning right there in southern Arizona, even a gale warning off the west coast there. So you folks in Los Angeles and California out that way, you're going to want to stay away from the beach this week. But fortunately for us, we have a warm-up this week, 69 down there in San Antonio, not too bad, 51 in Kansas City. And as we take a look around, even 47 here in Des Moines, that's not too bad compared to what we had in the single digits even last week. 34 up there in Bismarck, 57 in Hayes. As we go out to the northeast, though, a little bit chillier, 30 only in Montreal, 44 in Boston, 32 up there in northern Maine. But as we come down to the southeast, as is the usual case, quite a bit warmer for them. 74 down there in Miami, 68 in Houston. Yeah, a little chillier up there in Charlotte at only 50 degrees. And as we move out west, pretty boring, as is the usual case. 73 in Bakersfield, 66 in Los Angeles. That's about what they're used to, 365 days a year. 49 up there in Salt Lake City. 49 only in Seattle, 41 in Missoula, And it gets pretty chilly up there in Glasgow and northern Montana, only 39, but that's where they're expecting some snow to come across. Let's take a look at the upper atmosphere over the next few days here, or let's not. You can see over here in the west we have this big low pressure system accompanied by a cold front moving through, and that's going to bring that snow and precipitation across the Colorado area. Some colder air accompanied with this high center is going to be moving across Iowa and the central United States. And of course, a fair amount of rain down there in Arizona. Let's take a look at the flu outlook. Here in Iowa, I would say we're pretty safe, nothing to really worry about. Minnesota, even, you guys are A-okay, but as we get down to Louisiana and California, you guys might want to think about evacuating. That looks pretty serious. I would not want to be anywhere near there this week. But let's take a look at the extended forecast for Sacramento, California. Really pretty warm out there this week with highs in the upper 60s, 68 there on Saturday, but really feeling that contrast, 30 degrees cooler, 37 the low Saturday night. A chance of showers, 40% chance of showers on Tuesday next week, but we'll have more on that maybe as the week goes on.
Now it's time to take a look at tonight's trivia question. In what year was the first weather satellite launched? A, 1939, B, 1949, C, 1959, or D, 1969? We'll have your answer coming right up. Now let's have a look at the week ahead with Jackson. Jackson.
Yeah, as I said earlier, for those of you who are just now turning in, we have temperatures in the 40s to upper 40s throughout the state today. Ames looking at about 40 degrees. Des Moines warming up quite a bit into 47 degrees and that kind of ranges. We do have some low or upper 30s over here on the east side of Des Moines at 37 degrees, and kind of over towards the west side of Des Moines we have 43 degrees. So I'll have more about that coming up later. Welcome back. I'm meteorologist Jackson Garlock. As we're seeing, we have some temperatures. Right now, temperatures in Ames have actually dipped down quite a bit from earlier in the forecast, about 38 degrees in Ames, 47 degrees still in Des Moines, so temperatures not feeling too bad compared to what we've had for the last week. And those temperatures will continue to stay in the 40s throughout the week. I'll have more about that as we step through. Looking at the next slide, if we can. I currently cannot. I do not have any control until now, where we see the current conditions are 38 degrees in Des Moines, or in Ames right now. Sorry about that. Calm winds. It feels like 38 degrees as well, so it is not. It's going to be very, very nice conditions. Not too dry as we've been seeing recently, and the dew point is 33 degrees. So yeah, really not too dry out there as well. Looking at the wind speeds over Ames, or over the state of Iowa today, we see kind of some speedier wind speeds in Ames right now of 9 degrees, 6 degrees in Des Moines, and then around the state you see some calm winds. Over here on the east side we see 3 degrees in Dubuque and 3 degrees in Davenport, but over there on the west side it's some calm conditions over here in Sioux City. Moving on to the satellite and radar for the next few hours and maybe a day ahead, we don't see really too much moving into the state, but there will be a little bit of precipitation moving in on Thursday, as we'll be able to see in the later forecast. Forecast highs for tomorrow are 57 degrees in Ames, 60 in Des Moines, so that's going to feel really, really, really nice compared to the single digits and 10 to 20 degree weather we've been seeing the last few weeks. So we should be looking forward to that. As you move on to the northeast side of the state, Decorah is only seeing about 45 degrees as the high tomorrow. So it might be a little bit chilly as you're up there, but for the most part, Iowa's going to be seeing some really, really nice temperatures over the next day. Looking at the forecast for tonight, we see a low of about 15 degrees, which is going to be a little bit chilly, especially if you've been walking around in the 40s, 50s today, with some cloudy conditions tonight as well, not really keeping those temperatures low to the ground as the night moves on. Looking at tomorrow's forecast, we see that high of 57 is going to feel really, really nice. Sun will be slightly poking through with those partly cloudy conditions over Iowa. So it's going to feel like a really nice day tomorrow. We'll take advantage of it for the next week before it starts to plummet back down as we enter December. Looking at the futurecast, as I noted earlier, Thursday, this is about 3 a.m., so most of us will be tucked nice and asleep in our beds, so not much. We won't really be seeing too much of this go on around the state, but we might be waking up to those kind of wet conditions as we're on our way to work. The sidewalks will be nice and wet, and some of the grass will be a little bit muddy as we have some of this precipitation moving through. And that we see a very, very slight bit of snow moved up into the northwestern part of the state. I don't really think it will be moving into Iowa, but if you are traveling north to northwest during this time, you might want to be careful of the incoming snow that's in those areas. Moving on, pretty temperate weather, maybe some clouds moving over every once in a while, but not too much going on in the state after that for a while. Looking at our extended forecast for the next day, tomorrow, Wednesday, we see that high of 57. That's going to kind of move down on Thursday to 49 degrees with those really cloudy conditions. Moving into Friday, it gets a little bit cooler, 37 degrees with a low of 23. But that tends to get right up for that game day forecast of 43 degrees with a low of 25. Sunday, nice and 49, almost hitting those 50-degree temperatures. And that'll slowly taper off again as we move into the next week, Monday, 47, and Tuesday, 41 degrees.
All right, and now it's time to take another look at tonight's trivia question. In what year was the first weather satellite launched? A, 1939, B, 1949, C, 1959, or D, 1969?
My guess would have been sometime after 1969 when we put Neil Armstrong and company on the moon, but it appears that that's not an option, so I'm going to have to go with 1959.
I am also going to guess C, 1959, just because I always guess C, and most of the time that's actually correct for our show. But I actually have no clue what the answer to that question is.
Well, the answer actually is C. The first weather satellite that was launched was called the Vanguard 2, and it was launched to record cloud cover. And then, unfortunately, they had to launch a new one because it wasn't as accurate.
That
Well,
is unfortunate.
Technology is always increasing these days in its usability, so I mean, it's probably a good thing that it got replaced as it was put in, but I'm sure that was pretty groundbreaking at the time when it was implemented back in 1959.
Bunch of smart fellas over there making those weather satellites.
All right. Well, that concludes tonight's show. Please be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. You can find every show on YouTube under our Size Eyes channel. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on Thursday.